Welcome to CrunchtimeChaos, and it's official. The New York Knicks are NBA champions. Woo! 53 years in the making since 1973, and the job is done. Just sitting back, just looking at it, and just like, wow, y'all ever had the moment where you just sit back and just think about it, just how crazy like life is. But the whole playoff run, just the up and down roller coaster going down 2-1 against Atlanta. People are going to probably get Mike Brown probably gonna get fired. Mikal Bridges gonna get traded. Towns was definitely gonna get traded. But then the switch got flipped. Game 4, blowout. Game 5, I was there, blowout. Game 6, that historic absolute BTA in Atlanta. Just straight 54-point blowout. I know it was over 50 points. And then you sweep the Sixers. You sweep the Hawks. And then the Spurs, up and coming this season, missed the playoffs last season. Obviously, Wemby had his blood clots. But they beat the reigning defending champion Thunder. They counted us out. And guess what? They got the job done. The Spurs led in every single game by double digits. Game 1, I believe it was 14. Then in game 2, it was 12. Knicks won both of them games on the road. In game 3, Spurs, I think they had 16, and they obviously won that game by 6. And then they had a 29-point lead. And the Knicks pulled off a miracle, a New York miracle, and won that game. The greatest comeback in playoff history. I'm going to think about that for the rest of my life. And then in game 5, they were down 15. Nothing was working. Nothing was flowing at all. Brunson was doing the heavy lifting. Cat was in foul trouble. Hart, 13-11. Bridges had 14. The bench couldn't do nothing. Alvarado was cold, 0-5. Shaman's been struggling. McBride's been struggling. But when you have that player that takes you to the promised land, his name is Jalen Brunson, and he did the thing. He did the Lord's work and put in a biblical performance. You're seeing this on a Sunday. He put up in San Antonio and just put on an all-time certified classic. On the road, honestly, that kind of was a home game. Yeah, a lot of Knicks fans in the building in San Antonio. And he just willed his team to victory. Now it was OG and Brunson for Finals MVP. OG was in foul trouble. He had 5 fouls. He had 11. But Brunson, after the night, it was not even a doubt. Michael Jordan, he ties Michael Jordan for who has 45, the most on a road championship game. He had 45 in a championship clincher. Now he's up there with the Eli Mannings in New York, Derek Jeter, Broadway Joe Namath, all the legends in New York sports history. He is up there, and he is immortalized. Whenever you go out, you're going to have to give him a free table. You have to pay, the restaurant has to pay for his meal. You have to do it. He just resurrected the franchise. And looking back at this franchise, do you guys remember the Kadeem Allens? Because I do. Moutier, I know he was a bust. Damian Dotson, Alonzo Trier, Kyle O'Quinn. Like, my first ever Knicks game was in 2015-2016 season, which was 10 years ago. Porzingis rookie season. I saw Melo play. I always wanted a Melo jersey. Melo was always one of my favorite players, my favorite Knick. But we were bad. And then we were bad, obviously. Porzingis, I mean, 4th pick. Who was Tingus Pingus? He was great. But the Knicks, we weren't that great. We had Lance Thomas, and I can't stand Lance Thomas for the life of me. I can't stand Lance Thomas. I'm on the deal with him anymore. 2016-17, we got Derrick Rose, so there'll be some hope. Nope. Injuries came, and it went. Then they got rid of Melo, brought in Enes Kanter. Can't guard a parked car whatsoever. But he had the best season of his career. I think he had 18-10, if not mistaken. The Knicks were like 500 almost at the All-Star break. And then Porzingis, the ACL, that was it. That was his last time as a New York Knick. Then he got traded to the Mavericks, got DeAndre Jordan, some other supplementary pieces. And then we had our worst record, one of our worst records in franchise history. We won 17 games. I think it was 17 or 15. Then the summer that was promised. Katie, Kyrie, Harden. No, excuse me, Katie, Kyrie, and Zion. But you know who we got? Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. That's who we got. All the draft busts. Remember Frank Ntilikina? Remember Kevin Knox? Obi Toppin with the 8th pick. You know, it wasn't a bust. He was a solid player. But still. And then you fast forward to the 2020-21 season. Tom Thibodeau became the coach. And then life got restored in that franchise, especially during COVID. There's nothing to do, but the Knicks, they gave me hope. They gave the city something to strive and believe in. Julius Randle went crazy. First-time All-Star, second-team All-NBA, most improved. Tom Thibodeau, Coach of the Year. Defense was elite. And looking back at it now, Elfrid Payton was a starting point guard. Reggie Bullock was the 2. Mitchell Robinson now playing the Atlanta Hawks series. We had Nerlens Noel, Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickley. This is my brothers. Derrick Rose, he was the best player in that series for the Knicks, turning back the clock. They lost in 5. The next season, there's a lot of hope. You bring Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, too much offense, lost their defensive identity, and then they missed the postseason. Randall, thumbs down to the fans. And then you bring in the 6'2 guard from Dallas in Villanova. 2-time national champion in Villanova. I'm going to get to more in Brunson in a second. He was great when Luka was out with Dallas during the 22 postseason. Had 41 against the Jazz. Carried them to the second round. Then, who did they be in the second round? Oh, yeah, how did I forget? They just absolutely demolished the Suns. They snatched their soul. All that Devin Booker told being better Luka, that got put to bed immediately. Immediately got put into bed. And they just stomped it out. Luka had the same amount of points as the Suns did in the first half, 27, and it was an absolute blowout. Then the Warriors lost in 5 games. Now the Mavericks, you look bad on this morning, on this Sunday morning. I'm feeling good, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to see the Lord in about an hour. But it's such a great feeling. And then the Mavericks look bad. You could pay them $50 million. $50 million. And then the Knicks took a gamble. I think it was $104 million for 4 years, or 120. I gotta admit, I was like upset. I'm like, I know he balled out, but like, let's see what he can do. I know a lot of Knicks fans were like that. Now, if you saw a Knicks fan, you saw this, I'm calling cap, or you're just a fortune teller. And then he came into the Mecca. Just missed the playoffs the year before. A very disappointing end to the year. Came into the Mecca. Just pressured that money immediately. Immediately showed up and showed out in the Garden. Immediately. Should have been an all-star in year 1. Julius Randle, he was great. He was an all-star once again. He looked more engaged. And then you get to the postseason where Julius Randle once again wet the bed. But a hero arose. The beginning of a legend, Jalen Brunson. He had that 41 against the Heat. And in the first round, Cavs were favored. Donovan Mitchell just got there, and we could have traded for Donovan Mitchell. Could have gave up RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, a couple picks to get Donovan Mitchell from the Jazz. But Danny Ainge was too stingy and didn't want to do nothing with the Knicks. But it's all right. It worked out in the end. The Knicks won in 5. And then you go to 8-seeded Heat, who had that magical run where Jimmy Butler went insane. They could have made the conference finals, but it just wasn't their time yet. Brunson carried 41 in Game 6, played all 48 in that Game 5. And he just fell short. Nobody helped him. Randall was hurt. He couldn't do nothing. RJ Barrett, you need to get in the lab. He didn't do nothing. Not a zilch. He didn't do not a damn thing whatsoever. He didn't do nothing. And then you go to 23-24 season. The breakout. Randall was shooting tour dates to begin the season. We have 417, 518. I'm like, oh no. He cut his hair. I'm like, oh Lord. And then Jalen Brunson. Captain, my captain. He became the cap. Took the city by storm. Randall Missed the rest of the season with that injury against the Heat, the shoulder injury against the Heat. He was an all-star. But the big thing is the trade deadline. We brought in OG Anunoby. We had to trade RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly, and it became the blessing in New York. A blessing from Brooklyn. I know he ain't from Brooklyn, but it's just a blessing. We got OG Anunoby right there. And then we went on an insane run, beat the defending champion Nuggets by 40, chat. By 40. Whooped him. It was a straight whooping. We blew him off the breaks. And then, I believe it was like a 10-game winning streak. We were just beating contenders left and right, looking like championship contenders. And then Randall got hurt. And then Brunson just went on this stretch, averaged 20.7 points per game during that season. Was a first-time All-Star, was emotional. MVP chance throughout the Garden. Dante DiVincenzo was going crazy. And then they get their first 50-win season. This is a 2012-2013 year. We're the second seed in the East. They beat the Sixers in the first round. Sixers were favored. Embiid was going off. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. He averaged 35, injured, hobbling. Maxey was doing his thing. It didn't matter. The Knicks moved on to play the Pacers. Injuries started creeping everywhere you go. It was only a 10-man rotation. Down to 8. Down to 7. They took a 2-0 lead against the Pacers. Almost a 3-0. Then Nembhard hit a lucky, stupid shot. Took game 4. Injuries kept piling on. OG. Then game 5, we won it. Brunson has Willis Reed moment in game 1 or game 2. One of those two. Game 5, we took it. Took a 3-2 series lead. Pacers took game 6. Then game 7, OG played only a few minutes to that hamstring. He was hobbling, looking old out there. Brunson, the final blow, the hand. Hart was hobbling as well. Everybody was hurt. Everybody. Pacers had a hot shooting day. And I was just so devastated. And the Knicks went out in 7 games at home. But then the next season, we made a big swing. We lost Isaiah Hartenstein to the Oklahoma City Thunder. We did sign OG Anunoby. It was a absolute right move in hindsight. And then you make a trade to bring in Karl Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves. A great trade. Now looking back at it, you had to trade Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo to get him. Now a lot of Knicks fans, including myself, I thought I wanted to see this team like ride out, because they did need a center because obviously they lost Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson, foul trouble, injury, so they did need a center. And you bring in Cat immediately, looked like arguably the best season of his career that first year with the New York Knicks. He was terrific. Looked like the best player on the team, honestly. Brunson and Cat were all-star starters for the first time, I believe, since the 90s or the 80s or maybe the 70s. But I know those two were all-star starters that year. We're the 3rd seed. Def was a little bit shaky. Played Detroit in the first round. They won game 1. And then they lost game 2. I went to game 2 with my boy. With my boy Germany. Shout out my boy. Went to game 2. They lost. A little nervous. Then game 3, game 4, took over Detroit. Game 5 looked like they closed it out, but they didn't. Game 6, won on the road against Detroit. Brunson, that big 3 over Asar Thompson. Absolutely legendary. Then you go to the second round against Boston Celtics. That year, we were 0-4 against Celtics, 0-4 against the Cavs, and 0-2 against the Thunder. 0-10 against the top 3 teams in the NBA. Now, everyone thought they didn't stand a chance. And then in game 1, up 20, the Celtics we're like, oh, man, it's over. But then they came back and won. Mikal Bridges got the stop against Jaylen Brown, just ripped it away from him in overtime. Game 2, same result, deja vu all over again. And guess what? They won that one. Mikal Bridges got the stop against Jason Tatum. Game 3, they got absolutely blitzed in the Garden. Game 4, they were down once again. Brunson and Tatum dueling in Madison Square Garden. The Knicks were coming back, looking to take a 3-1 lead. Tatum got hurt, but the Knicks were already ahead at that point. Tatum tore his Achilles in Game 5. Celtics won that one. Brunson fouled out, waving by the Celtics fans goodbye, and he sent them home in the Garden, saying na 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 na, hey, goodbye. That's what they were saying, and they won Game 6 advanced to the first conference finals since 2000. In 25 years, they made it. And then the conference finals, Game 1. This is heartbreaking. This is heartbreaking for me. They won that one. They had that game wrapped up, and then Halliburton, that bounced Neesmith, the demon himself. I couldn't believe it. Turned the next Steph Curry, Larry Bird, Kyle Korver, Ray Allen, all the other shooters you want in the book, he turned into them. And the Pacers made a comeback that really broke my heart. I couldn't sleep for days, but now I could finally rest on a beautiful sunrise. I feel like Thanos after we won. I feel like Thanos after he snapped the Infinity Gauntlet, snapped half of all life on the universe. But they lost that one. They lost Game 2. Pacers took full control of home court advantage. Game 3, Knicks down 20. Karl-Anthony Towns had an insane fourth quarter. I was going off on him. He had an insane fourth quarter. Rallied troops back, took that one, finally had some depth. Lost Game 4. Pacers took a 3-1 lead. And then Game 5, took that one in the Garden. Brunson did his thing, and the rest of the squad did their thing as well. Then Game 6, that was all she wrote, and Pacers advanced to the finals in heartbreaking fashion. It was bad. Obviously, the Pacers lost in Game 7 to the Thunder. Halliburton tore his Achilles. We don't know what could happen, but I believe the Thunder would have won anyways. Thunder won that championship. Then you go into this season. Pressure or bust. Finals or bust. Tatum hurt. Achilles. Lillard, Achilles. Halliburton, Achilles. It was now or never. It was a two-man race, honestly, between the Cavs and the Knicks. How fitting they'll be in the conference finals. I'll get to that in a moment. But they made it. The New York Knicks, a roller coaster this season. And this season honestly has meant a lot to me. I can't even lie to you. I got an intern. I've been to 10 Knicks games. I interviewed some of the best players in the world. Interviewed the coach a couple times. Mike Brown. It's been a great season. It's been a great all-around season. A lot of ups and downs. I remember the MLK Day massacre. Max Christie had 6 threes. It was just trash. We had the MLK massacre. It was the year of the New York Knicks. They won the NBA Cup against the Spurs. And then, following that, blew a 20-point lead against the Spurs. And then went on a bit of losing streak. And then remember the MLK Day massacre. They lost by 30. It was disgustingly horrible. Boos raining down the Garden. I was there as a reporter. It was shameful and pathetic. And then the switch got flipped. And the Knicks took over for a couple games. I think they were on a 7-game winning streak, holding opponents to under 100. They were terrific defensively, and offensively they're cooking. Then there was still a little bit of doubt. We couldn't beat Detroit. Cade took over the Garden one game down the end of the regular season at 45. It didn't matter. Chat, it did not matter. And they've won that one. And Pistons won that one. It didn't, and yeah, they won. Pistons won that one. And then you go to the postseason now. 3rd seed, best record since 2012, 2013. That squad won 54 games. Obviously had Melo, injury prone stat. J.R. Smith, older Jason Kidd, older Kenyon Martin, older Camby. Tyson Chandler, DPO White, Tyson Chandler. I think all-star that year as well. Shump, rest of the squad, nice team. Shout out to my boy Chris Copeland. I had to throw that out there as well. Great squad. Really, really, Raymond Felton, really great squad. But this time was different for the New York Knicks. That first round series against Atlanta, down 2-1. It was looking grim. CJ McCollum looked like Michael Jordan. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. And then the adjustment got made in Game 4 after you lose by 1 point. Back-to-back games where you lose by 1 point. You make the adjustment. Karl-Anthony Towns finally got the ball in his hands. played the point center, immediate triple-double, had 2 triple-doubles in that series. It was the first postseason triple-double he ever had in his career, ladies and gentlemen. In his career. And guess what? They won in 6 games after a dominant blowout. Swept the Sixers, who coming off a 3-1 comeback against the Celtics. Swept them. Absolute broomsticks out, especially in that game 4 closeout on Mother's Day. 25 made threes. The Deuce McBride game, 7 threes. Absolute home style barbecue cooking that day. And then in game 4, and then we go to the conference finals. They were down bad. They had a couple days off, a little bit over a week, if I'm not mistaken. And then they won that one. Down 92-93-71, almost halfway through the quarter. And they rallied like I've never seen a rally before. Brunson got the ball in his hands and absolutely took over when it was needed. He took over, ladies and gentlemen. Took over. And he won. And they won that one in overtime. Landry Shamet getting the bouncers. Landry Shamet was sensational in that series. 11-12 from 3. He's going to get the bag. Hope we can retain him. He's going to get the bag somewhere in offseason. But the Knicks swept them. Cavs, analytically, they've won 2 out of 3. Analytically, how's Cancun? Analytically, how's Cancun, ladies and gentlemen? How's Cancun, Cleveland? How's Cancun? And then they go to the first final since 1999. The poise, the job was absolutely not finished. The job's not done. The great words of legendary Kobe Bean Bryant, rest in peace. Kobe, the job was not done. They understood that. Going to Spurs, favorites, beat the Thunder. Spurs, Wemby was crying. And the emotionalist took over. The emotion took over. Had a 14-point lead game 1. Lost that one. Brunson, tough dagger shot over Vassell. Did not shoot the best. Cat outplayed Wemby the first 2 games of the series. He looked like the finals MVP. They were down 12 in game 2. Knicks, 1 by 1, got the stop that they needed. Wemby, bad turnover against Stephon Castle, then missed the jumper. Game 3, Spurs had a big lead too. Knicks cut it down, but the Spurs were able to hold on and win that one. Knicks didn't look good. Now there's a lot of doubt everywhere that, they're going to tie the series. And then in game 4, reality crept in. I'm like, no, don't do this. Reality's going to creep in, right? And it didn't. Reality did not. It did not. It felt like a dream. I still can't believe it to this day. They came back down 29 points. The greatest comeback in NBA Finals history. And they won. They won that one, bro. They won that one. Brunson rallied the troops. OG, the tipping. You got to do something with OG. You might have to give him free food for the rest of his life. Free lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever the case may be, dessert, wherever the heck you got to give him. Give him a statue of that tipping, bro. Because that'll be fair. I'm going to tell my kids and my grandkids about that one, ladies and gentlemen. And they won that one, bro. And they won that one. Rallied that one. Got the stop at the end. And that just broke the Spurs' heart. That really broke the Spurs' heart. And then in game 5, they couldn't throw a rock into the ocean. 13 points to 23. Looked like old-fashioned, like 1999. The scoring. Like literally looked that much of a low-scoring game. But you have that player, Jalen Brunson, to rally the troops. To absolutely rally the troops. No one could have done anything. Cat, 2 points, 23 minutes, got fouled out. OG was in foul trouble. Bridges had 14. Alvarado couldn't do anything. Shamet wasn't good. Mitchell Robinson, that key offensive rebound. That is why he's here. And I'm so glad he has this moment. I wish Ernie Johnson interviewed him. He has been here for so many downs. And to finally see him get rewarded, it's just a great feeling for Mitchell Robinson. I got to bring it up for him. Not the best free throw shooter, but he has heart, great defensive intensity, and a great rebounder. Honestly, that might go down as one of the more iconic rebounds in the NBA history, especially in Knicks history as well, and maybe playoff history and finals history. The key offensive rebound to make it a 2-possession game against Victor Wembanyama. That will not go unnoticed. For the rest of my life. Mitchell Robinson, that will never go unnoticed. I will remember that. Jalen Brunson, that 45. We got to talk about him for a second, ladies and gentlemen. He's the Finals MVP. Now, a couple more years of greatness, he's a Hall of Famer. He's the greatest Knick in NBA, greatest Knick in New York Knicks history, franchise history. He got the job done. Against all odds, he had a 7'5" alien over there. A 6'2" guard from Villanova, from Jersey, Chicago area, Jersey, New York, whatever. Father Rick Brunson was there, was a former player. And then to see his dad as a coach, coaching him, assistant coach, obviously under Mike Brown, but see those two have a moment. Freaking beautiful, bro. Storybook. And Brunson's just a winner at every single level. Just at every single level. And they got the job done. 45 in that closeout, man. He got the job done. I could be here for a very long time. It's already at the 25-minute mark, but I'm going to still keep talking, bro. I'm going to still keep talking. And then, I give credit. Brunson, greatest Knick of all time, a New York legend for the rest of eternity, for the rest of life. And this in New York, and then when he gets to when we get to heaven, Lord, he's a legend. He's a legend, Lord. Lord, you my legend as well. God love you, Lord. But Karl Anthony Towns, a lot of doubt. Minnesota got rid of him. I know it's for cap issues, but they look bad on this Sunday morning. They look really bad. They look horrible, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely horrible. And guess what? Every player that the Timberwolves traded won a championship, and Karl Anthony Towns completed the cycle. He completed the cycle. Kevin Garnett, gone, got traded, immediately won a championship. Kevin Love won a championship with the Cavs. There's another player I forgot. And then Karl Anthony Towns, he won this season with the New York Knicks. OG Anunoby, obviously traded, and then got his ring, got his due, two-time champ now. Didn't play in that finals run against the Raptors. What with the injury? Mikal Bridges, ladies and gentlemen, fuck them picks. It did not matter at the end of the day. It did not matter. Fuck them picks. The Rams motto, it did not matter, bro. It did not matter. It didn't matter. 5 first-round picks look bad. It looked bad. But Mikal Bridges, why you get him? Get another defensive wing. And it was great. Everything was great in the world. We got it done. That defense, the shooting, he was looking very bad, but the three-point shooting, the mid-range, and the defense made up for it in a time of need. He had 14 points in that closeout Game 5, and a lot of great moments throughout the postseason. Not that first round, but ever since that Game 4, Game 3, he really stepped it up. Josh Hart, the heart of a champion. Every team needs a Josh Hart on their team. Every team needs a Josh Hart, the heart of a champion, and well-deserved from my boy Josh Hart. And then Alvarado, off the bench, New York born and raised, well-deserved for him. A great contribution in that Game 4. He was terrific down the stretch. Mitchell Robinson, already said what I said about him. Longest tenured Knick, a lot of downs, but he finally goes up. Proud of Mitchell Robinson. Shaman's going to get the bag. Same with Mitchell Robinson. They're going to get some bags. Hopefully we can retain him. Jeremy Sochan, NBA champ. Tyler Kolek, NBA champ. Porty, NBA champ. Dylan Jones, NBA champ. And also I'm missing McBride, NBA champ as well, man. It's just crazy. I'm going to have a timeline video, but the New York Knicks are NBA champions. This is a long, lengthy video, but I just had to break it down. A lot of downs, but the New York, we finally up. We are up. But let me know your thoughts on the New York Knicks win the NBA championship. Just what a run for me, bro. Honestly and truthfully. Been in 10 Knicks games. Reporter. First time. Intern. And I'm not done. I'm not going to stop. Interviewed some of the best players in the NBA. I don't sound like a broken record. Interviewed Brunson and Cat in the postseason. We won. The job is done. We can rest now. The job is done. We could go home now. We won. The New York Knicks are 2025-2026 NBA champions. But that is all for Crunch Time Chaos. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. Check the link in the description below. Check my website as well. And embrace the chaos.